The show, this video is called Our Dad's Garage. He's my dad. Yeah! Also my tooth squiggly. Ha!
Okay, well, it's time to start tackling these harder parts. Lots of rust here in front of the rear wheel. This is the 53 fender. It's got these great curvy quarter panels that I love, but they're very prone to rusting down here. Now there is a gravel guard that'll go, and that's what this mark is here. There's a gravel guard, a chrome piece. It's actually stainless steel that wraps around the front of this, and it keeps gravel from chipping the paint. They're real cool. Let me show you over here on the other one. It's that same piece. So that piece will go back on here. Now that's going to save me a little bit because I really don't have to worry about what my bodywork looks like underneath the gravel guard. Now I'm going to fix it and make it as good as I can, but you know, if it's not absolutely perfect, nobody's ever going to see it. So I'm not too worried about it. So I don't want to get into rolling metal in two directions unless I absolutely have to, because doing one curve is difficult, but doing curves on top of curves in different directions really gets into it. And then as you get on down here, you're going to get into another compound curve where it rolls this way and then back. That's almost impossible to fabricate. The good guys can do it. I can't do that. So what I've done is I've made a mark here with my Sharpie. I've come in up here and I've cut this piece out because this is a factory mount. This is a bolt that actually, I'll take this little clip out of there, but this goes back in and this lines up with the stainless steel gravel guard, and that's what holds it on. So I want to locate that, make sure that it's located in the exact same spot. There's another one down here that got eaten up in the rust, and I'm going to have to just guess as to where that one is once I get this piece cut out, and I'll have to put that one back into the piece that I put in there. But I'm going to save that one because the metal around that I think is pretty good. So my plan is I'm going to cut this out, take my grinder, my cutoff wheel on my grinder, and I'm going to save as much of this down here as I can. Some of that's pretty good, some of it's not very good. But we'll replace all this, and hopefully we can make that in one fairly decent roll, and then shape it the best that we can into that great curve. And then we'll work on kind of how that new piece lines up back here. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the back side back here. I'm going to save this edge because it's in good shape. There's no reason to try to recreate that and recreate that roll. And then once I get this cut out, I can clean up anything that's inside and replace whatever I need to in there. So next video, I'm cutting this out. With that panel removed, you can see there's a small area of rust damage on the inside of the fender well as well. I cut this out and will replace this once I get the outer skin replaced. Okay, so that's the piece that came off, and what I've done is I've laid it flat against another piece about the same size, and I've traced the outside edges of it. I've kind of squished it down and kind of seen where it's going to be as it stretches out. And what you can see is that piece is almost a flat piece with a simple roll in it. It won't be much of a compound roll, so that's going to be pretty lucky for us. So I'm going to trim this piece off, and then I'll start trying to shape it to kind of mimic that right there before I start fitting it on the car. That goes next. Okay guys, let's take a look at what we got. I've got this piece pretty well shaped and I've got it clamped into place. And I want to show you kind of what I've done. I've got it cut, and I've got it to where if I come in here and I start to just push this on, so I've got it clamped on one side, and if I can line this guy up, I've got some relief cuts made in the metal to help that fold through there. So you can shape metal by beating on it, English wheeling it. You can do different things, but there's another thing you can do. You can also cut some reliefs in it. This again is going to be hidden behind a gravel guard. This is way down low on the car. Even if I didn't do great body work, I don't think you'd ever see it, but this is just another way to do it. I've got to make some, I've got to cut out just a little bit more on my fender here. Let's see if you can see where my finger is right here. Where my finger is here, I've got to cut just a little bit more of the fender back there to get this piece. Instead of cutting here, I'm gonna go back into just a little bit better metal back there, clean that up again. So I'm gonna do it that way. I'll get that thing welded in. That's the next thing that you'll see. But I was able to make that piece using just the roller, and then these little relief cuts. I just made these cuts because these need to kind of, I guess the right word is pucker. It needs to draw together as it comes in over here just a little bit. It was probably out by 1/4 of an inch. And instead of beating on it, I got it so close. I got that curve looking pretty good. I got it so close I really didn't want to start messing with it and getting it beat up. You're gonna have to do body work one way or the other, so pick your poison. So I'm picking that one.
So what I did was I laid the panel against the quarter panel and made marks around the edges of it with a Sharpie. Then when I remove the panel, I'm taking this grinder here, or this cutoff wheel, and I'm going to cut maybe within a 1/16 of an inch of where my mark is, giving myself just a little bit of room. So this will make the opening match the panel instead of making the panel match the opening. It's just an easier way to finalize these last little cuts. And I'm also cleaning up the edges with the grinder, make sure I've got all of the paint off, and I'll be able to have a good place to make a clean with.
Okay, so I got this panel in place. It looks pretty good for what it is. I'm gonna have to tack it in up around here first, and then I'll come back and tack in some places that need to kind of just be sprung just a little bit different. But that's gonna bring that good curve right into all of that, and I think that's really gonna look pretty good. So we're gonna weld it in and see how she looks. Okay, well, it's not terribly pretty, but it looks good to me. That is tacked in. That's got a good roll on it. I don't know if you can see kind of how that all came together. Now, I did bust through. I was hammering on it, and I knocked a new hole in it right there underneath where I made those relief cuts. And I'm going to do a fiberglass repair over that. That is not a big deal. It is so low and underneath the gravel guard, you will never see it, and it won't matter to me. It won't matter to anybody else. There's the finished product right there, so you can see that gravel guard comes down almost. You know, it comes. The gravel guard actually comes down below this, so it'll be behind the gravel guard. So I'm not really worried about that. But that makes a pretty good little repair there for that fender. Again, we saved $179 plus shipping plus tax by doing this one ourselves. So it's looking better. We're getting a lot of metal done on this car. It is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a Saturday. It's cold outside. It's supposed to snow today and tomorrow. Got a lot done. I'm tired and I'm dirty and I'm ready to call it a day. So we'll check back in maybe tomorrow afternoon.